Days go by, years go by, life goes by. You've got no time to rest. I wonder how the time flies fast. The book of my life was written in stone. I never regretted all of the things that I've done. Though the waters that flow through the earth eroded away the sands of this life. I was no rebirth. Wonder how the time flies fast. When I say now, it's almost past. Days go by, years go by, life goes by. You've got no time to rest. I wonder how the time flies If I could turn back time, then I wouldn't change any line. If I could turn back time, then I wouldn't change any line. Days go by, years go by, life goes by, the times are right to die. Days go by, years go by, life goes by, the times are right to die. Days go by, years go by, life goes by, the times are right to die.
Good evening, my brothers and sisters. It is I, the wolf, not so old today. Yes, I'm getting my mojo, getting my energy back. It's time to dance. Tonight's episode 75, The Parent Trap. Going to have my sister, Stephanie Thompson, live with us in a little bit. She is somebody that is very much in our... See, started off the show with a fuck up. And it gives me a good reason to throw a fuck in there. If you don't give any fucks, then how can you get any fucks back? Yeah, live broadcasting, isn't it fun? I have to really watch myself on my Monday night shows. I was joking about that last night, doing the Marshall Tucker dance. But out here on the Tuesday nights with all you, oh yeah, I can just really, really be the wolf. So yeah, Steph is somebody who is very much in our inner circle. Her and her kids are literally family to us. I love you, DJ. Love you, Bug. Love you, sister. And we spent some time with them last year in Texas, and we had a blast. One of the tracks that I released last year was written specifically, not only for DJ, but based on some of the things that DJ was going through that he shared and that Steph shared. And those of you who know me know that if you become part of my pack, there's not much I won't do. AKA, anybody fucks with that kid, and he's not really a kid anymore. He's getting older, but as far as I'm concerned, he's always going to be a kid. You fuck with that kid, guess what? I'm coming back to fucking Texas, okay? And I'm coming back to Texas hard. And I'm coming back, and I won't be alone. So I'm just throwing that out to the universe there. Don't fuck with DJ. Okay? As always, the thoughts, expressions, opinions, views, etc., are mine and mine alone. Sometimes I have little personalities that jump out. Last night, Venom paid a guest slot towards the end. Nobody got eaten, but, maybe next time. I see my sisters, Diana, Chris Cole. I see my witch, Shy, out there. Now, that picture up there, and that opening track, by the way, is a track that I wrote with that guy on the left, looking all blingy, wearing that limited edition Pocket Full of Wolves shirt. That's my brother, Jonathan Porter, okay? And the guy on the right with the big tongue, looking like he's having a little taste of that wolf hair. Yeah, that's my brother, Chris Miller. He's going to be joining me Friday night up here in upstate New York, Batavia Downs. And we're going to be doing a little something different. We're going to be hanging out with some peoples, okay? And those peoples would be the Marshall Tucker Band, okay? July 21st, Batavia Downs. Yeah, I'm promoting this show for them. It's part of their Rockin' the Downs summer concert series. I know these guys. Doug was gracious enough to do an interview with me last night. I've worked with them over the years, and it really is going to be a privilege. Shy's going to be out there with us. She's going to shoot the show because she's a fucking incredible photographer. And we're going to cover it for the radio station WRFZ, Rochester Free Radio, 106.3 FM. So, yeah, that's the other gig that I do, besides being a musician. And I'm going to come back and I'm going to talk about that when I come back. Now, again, as I mentioned, that's my sister, Stephanie. Don't get any ideas now, men. Okay? Because, again, she's got guardians around her. We'll just put it that way. But if you're really lucky, she might give you that classic smile of hers. Okay? But yes, we're going to talk about the Parent Trap. We're going to talk about all those beautiful things, dancing, raising children in a world filled with sheep and fucking ugly things hiding in the shadows. It's not easy. Those of you with kids know it is a never-ending dance. Just because they get older doesn't mean we love them any less, and doesn't mean we don't worry any less. We hope that with what we give them, they can surf their way through the bullshit. But myself and Shy and Steph and a lot of people in our circles believe in an old dynamic, strength in numbers. It used to be, generations of family would live in the same house. And that's how we did it, and it worked. Now, don't get me wrong, everybody's entitled to their own path, but, as one parent to another, you know what I mean? Your kids are your most important thing, or at least they should be. So we're going to talk about that. Now, of course, that first picture that we started off the show was from last year's Art for Autism show, where myself and a few others, under the Pocket Full of Wolves banner, performed. And it was a lot of fun, raised a lot of money for autism, and it's coming back. Now, I don't have the updated flyer, and I'm going to get that for next time. They got the listing of bands and stuff they're going to play. Tony and Frank Tonra and others make it a point to rotate those bands. Broken Pass will be playing again, but Broken Pass has a new singer, so technically Broken Pass is kind of a new band again. I'm going to play a kind of incarnation track, new track, that I did with Matt Brown and Tony Rodriguez, and the original drummer from Broken Past, a good friend of mine, dear brother, Joe Catano. He lives down in North Carolina now. So a lot of stuff going on between the radio station, new music, the people that I dance with. I see the Goblin Queen has shaded in the chat. And, no coincidence, a track that I did, totally different type of track that I did back in the day, called Goblin Dance, again, was inspired by her children, because her children are very cool as well. And we have these common dynamics. You know, a lot of us have kids. I'm going to embarrass my sister, the oracles of Babylon, Osiris, Malice. I can't keep your name straight, sister. So I'm going to call you the fucking oracle. Okay. Everybody within our little clickety click, click, click kind of has these little, you know, specialty names. I'm the old wolf. Lady Shia is, you know, the queen witch. Chanel is the goblin queen. Diana is the assassin queen. We have a Bieber queen. We have all kinds of queens and kings and everything in between. Yes, there she is. I've been trying to drag her into this community because I think she would find a lot of love and support. She's not cut from the same bullshit cloth that a lot of us have to dance around. So welcome, my sister. You are truly and humbly appreciated here. So yeah, I'm going to fuck with her later on. That's what I do. And I'm sure Steph is going to fuck with me. And that's what we do. There's a whole lot of fucks going on. So I got the fucks out of my system. Obviously, it appears that Chanel is melting where she is. 109. She can't spell anymore. So, sister, you got to take care of that. Get yourself someplace where you're not fucking melting. Unless that's what you're into today, which don't get me wrong. I mean, we'll support you in that. Yes, Devil's Sauna. Ooh. Is it time to eat them? No, it's not. Air conditioning, yeah, but, you know, listen, once you start, you know, getting caught in that air conditioning trap, you literally can't fucking go anywhere, because as soon as you step outside that bubble, you're going to get hammered with that Acme fucking sledgehammer. And I know it ain't no fun. No fun, no fun, no fun. So a couple of things I want to shout out before I get into the awesome stuff. And then, you know, I'm going to get my sister Steph on the phone and we're going to dance. Shy and I, Chris Miller, Susie Q, we're going to be at the Marshall Tucker Show, Batavia Downs. Anybody out here in the upstate Western New York area, okay. But if you can't get to that, and if you're up in this area, over at the Penfield Amphitheater, my brother Gary Mara and his band, they're going to be playing for the Food Truck Rodeo for Cancer, and they're raising money for Cole Johnson, who's got stage 4 cancer. It's a free show, okay? They are making it a point to, the best of their ability, actually do things within this community. So I really wanted to shout them out. I also wanted to shout out my brothers Brian Judah and Ed Contini over at WRFZ. Brian just became a board member. He's our inside man. So congratulations, my brother. And Ed and I have become as thick as fucking thieves. We are chaos and mayhem, but with a sweet, slightly salty aftertaste. Poor Steph, your car registered 113 today in Texas. Yeah, listen, there's nothing going on. There's nothing wrong with our climate, right? Right? This is all normal, right? The earth is flat, right? I can't go too far there. I don't want to fuck up the groove. Yeah, it's fucked up everywhere. Listen, it's been raining here nonstop. You walk outside, you got to kind of swim down the street. And I'm not even talking about flooding, which is going on in a lot of places. It's just literally the air is so thick between, you know, the Canadian haze, which doesn't get you high in that kind of way, and the moisture off the lake. Yeah, it's fucking disgusting. And yes, it's supposed to get worse. So yeah, everybody hang out. Warm-blooded goblin or cold-blooded? Chanel, that's a question for you, because I've seen you on both ends of the spectrum. Not unlike my sister Diana, you could be very terrifying, but you can be so sweet and sexy. And it's kind of, you know, it's like one of those double type of things. Like, I don't know if I should be aroused or I should like run and hide. It's a weird dance, but I dance a lot, so I'll eventually find the tempo for that. So, yeah, the Arts for Autism event's going to be September 23rd, 2023, back down in Port Monmouth, New Jersey. A lot of bands, wrestlers, personalities, families. And I'm going to crack out some of those pictures later and share that because, yeah, that's what I do. Last week I had Peril from Phantom High on, and it was a fucking incredible interview. Really powerful band. Looking forward to hearing some new music from them. They're out there across the lake in Toronto, really, really digging deep and creating some stuff. The track I'm going to play in the segue before I grab Steph out here is dedicated to my sister, the Oracles. Okay. And it's no coincidence because I think, and I talk about this a lot, but it's worth repeating. We're more alike than we are disalike. The things that supposedly divide us, most of them are bullshit. They're smoke and mirrors. They're illusions and constructs designed to keep us stupid, to keep us, distracted. But the dynamics of what we feel, be it loss, pain, betrayal, lust, love, all these things are common across the board. Okay. And Phantom High is one of those bands that I've been heavily promoting because I believe they capture an element of magic that we desperately need out here. We need people with the courage and the ability to share these stories, to share these emotions, and show others that, guess what? You're not fucking alone. All right. You don't have to dance this by yourself. Okay. And more importantly, that we can find ways to define ourselves that serve us. Fuck everybody else. Don't get me wrong. If you got something good and it works, great, build upon it. But if you got somebody out there that's trying to manipulate you over here or gaslighting you with some bullshit, these ridiculous, unrealistic standards, we have to look a particular way, we have to dress a particular way. If you don't do this, if you don't do that, somehow you're less than. Yeah, it's a bunch of bullshit. Okay? So for my sister, the Oracles, Osiris, Babylon, Malice, this one is for you. It is just the beginning of the embarrassment. You know what I mean? But I think you're going to enjoy it, especially the visual dynamics. Just to give everybody a little insight, Oracles is a really, really gifted writer, dances in some different genre aspects, but I believe has really found a nice little piece of that magic. And she uses it not only to share with other people, but it's also reflective of how she is dealing with the things in her life, not only as a mother, as a human, but as a woman. Now, I'm not a woman, so, there's only so far, but I appreciate it. And I find beauty and magic in all of my sisters, just not in that creepy kind of two hobos fucking in a fucking shoe full of piss kind of way. Yeah, I went there. All right, so I'm going to get my sister on the line, but in between, as I said, this is Phantom High's Black Divine. No pun intended, sister, but I think you are Black Divine. So sit back, enjoy, and then we will be back.
I'm in the tub, wrist cat like a brisket. It's just too fucked up in the world to stay. But I can't die when I'm bleeding out, cause the bitch in the mirror's reviving me.
Yeah, a little bit of Black Divine by Phantom High for my sister, the Oracles. I got my sister Steph out here now live with us. And again, she's a Texas girl, so don't hold it against her. But my wish is a Texas girl, too. I always have to throw that out there, obviously, because I'm a fucking Yankee. So you know how this goes. So say hello. You're live across the world, everywhere at once.
Oh, wow. No pressure there.
No pressure at all. But listen, we've danced together. You know, again, I mentioned in the beginning of the show, we came down there, spent time with you and your kids. You have been involved with us for a few years now. DJ is literally, you know, like, again, this extension of my inner pack, you know, not unlike my own son. You know what I mean? He could call me, you know, from fucking Mars, and I'd be like, all right, man, give me time to build a spaceship. We'll come get you.
Right. He's definitely very special, and he really loves you guys, too. He talked anytime your show's on, he'll pop by right as there's some swear words coming out. He's like, Mom, no, it's all good. We just don't say those in the house.
You can refer to me as Uncle Kaka now.
Nah, you're the old wolf.
Yeah, but still. Listen, somebody has to bring it, you know what I mean? And you and I both know, and you've had to dances with your kids. No matter how hard we try, we cannot isolate them from the world around us. It's not possible. And that may be language, it might be sexuality, it might be violence. That shit is everywhere, you know, and there's really no other way to dance it besides dealing with it honestly versus, you know, hoping that somehow it'll just pass on by.
Very true, especially, you know, with all the growth in media and TV and the politics that get involved. It's really hard to even try to shelter kids from something like that anymore.
What have you found works for you in just trying to juggle the balance? Because I know Bug is into Slayer, you know what I mean? And she's got that little bit of that darker edge, which she probably got from you at some point along the line. But she's incredibly intelligent as well, too.
Oh, yeah. Probably the best thing that works for us is really teaching them to think and analyze things for themselves, like not just do what they're told to do or what they are told that they should think and things like that. It's kind of break it down, think about it, and then form your own opinion as to, is this a good choice? Is this a bad choice? Is this a good influence or a bad influence? And, you know, where those actions and thoughts are going to take you. And especially as they get older, because they're all teenagers now, it seems to make a difference, especially knowing, oh my gosh, in 5 years, all my children will be legal adults and they're eventually going to have to fly the nest and hopefully be good humans and make good choices.
I feel pretty confident knowing you and knowing the degrees that you make it a point to be engaged in what's going on. And it's not easy because you have to juggle a career, you have to juggle the adult life, you have to play the part of mom and wife and business person and everything that goes in between. And I also know for you as well, too, you're not afraid to speak on a lot of things. You have been kind of finding your voice, finding your magic, and some of that I think is translated with what you've been doing, with your job and stuff. But I've also been noticing just that little bit of dynamic, you know what I mean, between even just last year and this year, like the hair. What made you? I mean, that is a banging kind of like Debbie Harry kind of I'll kick your fucking ass kind of look that you got going. What influenced that?
You're referring to the platinum short hair?
Yes, I am. Well, what else could I? You're the one who sent it to me, so of course I'm going to ask that question.
Yeah, so when I saw you guys in Texas and up until probably earlier this year, that's the longest my hair has been since before Isabel was born. I had gone through some health stuff in 2014, and I have always had short hair. I just got this wild hair, ha ha ha, that I wanted to grow it out and see what happened. And you know what? I didn't feel like me anymore. So I went back to my sassy self. I kept it red and auburn for a while. And well, quite frankly, I bleached the heck out of it over the last few months. And now
I got to tell you, it's a good look
back
on
to
you.
platinum.
It really does. It looks good on you. And I can see, you have a lot of your self-esteem framed in there. And I know you've been using that within your job. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about what you do and how you've applied those dynamics in your professional life?
Well, I have been a salon manager. I put it out there all the time. So I'm a salon manager for JCPenney's, and they've had salons for a really long time. JCPenney's has been around for a very long time. I think they've been in business over 100 years. So I love the company I work for.
Yeah, and they'll take some free publicity. I mean, it's not like we're trying to make money off their stuff or anything, so they can just enjoy the ride.
No, and you know what? It's one of those. I'm passionate about something that aligns with my core values and their outlook. So, yeah, I'll plug them in there. But I love working in the salon atmosphere. They always say hairdressers touch more hearts than hair. It has reached out and helped me understand other people and find that people connect with me in a different way where I can help them feel confident. And sometimes it's not just hair, it's someone to talk to, enhancing their self-esteem, helping them work through a situation, and just bring out that inner glow.
It's like a light worker in many ways. You know what I mean? You've adapted aspects of not only your beliefs, but also in how you have experienced interactions, and you've applied it. As Shai likes to say, you are definitely a high-functioning empath.
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely, because I've got to be real careful where, if you're in a room with someone that's in a really crummy mood and they leave the room, you still end up being in a crummy mood if you absorb that. So it's kind of someone comes and sits in my chair, they're having a bad day. I crack a few corny dad jokes, make them laugh, and then all of a sudden their day is a lot better.
But that's the beauty of magic. Magic comes in so many different forms that it can be wrapped within a simple dad joke, as you say, or the analogy of, when somebody comes in there, it's a human interaction. So maybe they're going through some stuff, maybe they feel a particular way. And you're somebody that makes yourself available for them to, vocalize it, dump it, whatever the analogy may be. But you do that of your heart. It's not like that's part of your job description. Don't get me wrong. You can't act, all like, you know what I mean? But in the same analogy, I know you well enough to know that dynamic of you is real. It was real before you were doing that and will continue to be afterwards.
Oh, for sure. The other part of my job is helping people learn and grow. And I love, I garden out here in Texas. And so you start with your seed and you get this beautiful plant that flourishes. And managing for me is kind of the same way. My salon teams and salon families have been with me. They've seen me grow. I love watching them grow, both in their skill set, their personalities. We grow closer, all it all comes full circle. And, if I can enrich their lives, they definitely enrich and impact my life. So it becomes a big family atmosphere.
And that's a great analogy because it is reflective of how you live. And we both know, especially with all the bullshit that's out there, it's hard sometimes not to get lost in the mix. No coincidence. One of our friends, Jessica Granados, her daughter just graduated cosmetology school and starts JCPenney Salon in 2 weeks. It is a fucking small world, isn't it?
It is, but that's fabulous. I'm proud of her.
So yeah, obviously you guys you're making some impact out there. Because again, not that I go get my hair done anywhere, but you know what I mean? It's these little dynamics that sometimes, again, get lost in the mix. That's one of the reasons I wanted you to come out here, because I've known you and I've interacted with you and the kids and stuff. But I also know that the little things about us that connect us are really sometimes the most powerful. And we can find that commonality regardless if you live in Texas or Wisconsin or upstate New York or New Orleans or Columbus, Ohio, or wherever the hell you are. It is a common dynamic in how we all live.
For sure. We've got friends from all over the world. Doing things like this, you can reach out to anybody and something special might pop out, just like Dancing with Witches. Shia might say something, or one of the lives, someone on the live might say something. And even though you're on the other side of the world or the other side of the states, something will resonate with you, and you're just meant to hear that or have that person in your life, even if it's for that one reason or that season or a lifetime. It's a beautiful thing, and one of the things I love, social media for.
Yes, and it's a thing that reflects the family dynamic, coincidentally, as my mother, who's lurking in the shadows, makes her appearance in the chat. Hi, Mom. See, that's a cool thing. Like my mother still hangs out. She got, not that long ago, a couple of months ago, went down to my buddy Tony Rodriguez and got a tattoo. You know what I mean? She's still really vocal about staying engaged, not only just so much with her kids, but, with the world around her. And she's at a point where she's like, I'm not even fucking around. Like, if you come across in any kind of weird way, it's over, because witches have real power. And for anybody listening out there that doubts that, yeah, hang out with the witches one night and see what happens to you. So Shia is tweeting in my ear. She wants to know about your spiritual journey and how you translate that with the kids.
My spiritual journey and with the kids. Well, my spiritual journey is, I guess you could say, very eclectic. My dad puts it really well when we talk. He's like, I've got a good, solid Christian foundation, and then I've got my witchy branches. And I encourage my kids to learn all they can, understand everybody, because variety is the spice of life. But, I definitely teach them that there's a right way to do things and a wrong way to do things. And it's kind of, I guess it's kind of hard to explain. You trust your intuition. If you have big feelings that you need to get out, you pray about it. You go out and put it out to the universe, scream, cry, whatever you need to do, just get it out. And what you put out in the world eventually comes back to you in the form of an answer somehow.
But it's also reflective of how you live, again, leading by example to some degrees. Now, I know, because we joked about this when we were down in Texas and stuff, that there's always that other side of the coin, especially as the kids get older. They start developing their own personalities, and then they start throwing our logic and rationale back at us like, fucking curveballs. And it's always interesting, I have found, when you put that out there and you're very honest about it. You're not afraid to be like, hey, no, this is what it is. But also in the same degree, and I've seen that element, you don't fuck around at all. You know what I mean? You are very much like, hey, this is my world, and anything that's going to come in here and threaten you or those kids, you become a different person, like a lot of us. What did
I turned into Mama Bear.
Mama Bear, indeed. What did you do during, those years? Because, we all struggle. When kids are younger, you kind of have to put off the adult life. So we have to do things to compensate to keep us from fucking going insane. What did you do to keep from going insane during those early years?
Oh, I'll tell you what, the early years were real hard. I actually had postpartum depression really bad. After I had Isabel, I was actually hospitalized for it, and my first husband was overseas in Iraq, and I was having a really hard time with the adjustments that went into being a new mom and the hormones and the feelings involved. So, just a little thing out there. It's like if any moms are struggling and you start having these big feelings, like you need to talk to somebody about it, because there's no shame, and I don't think postpartum depression is talked about enough, and it can lead you down a very dark, lonely path. So make sure you reach out to somebody.
That's a very good point, because I think within society in general, we're all conditioned not to show emotion, that we're not supposed to let those uglier, darker, confusing elements out there. Some of it's because, the world in general just doesn't want to fucking deal with it. It's just easier to pretend to make it go away. But also, too, because it really requires an honest interaction. We live in a society now, and I remember we talked about it, here's a pill, go away, you'll feel better. You know what I mean? There's no real dynamic of actually dealing with what's going on. It's let's just treat the symptoms. And I know you're very vocal about, that very dangerous line between, dealing with the stuff inside of us and then just trying to cover it up or pretend that it's not there.
Yeah, well, and, I think a lot of society and even on TV, moms are held to such a high standard where we're supposed to be happy all the time and we're supposed to take care of everything. But it's not okay for us to be overstimulated or take time out for us. And we get people that preach self-care, but you have to make sure the house is clean. You have to make sure, the dinner's done and the whole family's fed and the dishes are done. And, there's all these demands, but then you have the oxymoron of, but take care of yourself.
Right. And taking
but then it's not okay because we're being selfish.
Right. Or taking care of yourself is, hey, buy the $500 Gwyneth Paltrow goop and rub it all over yourself and everything will magically be better.
Right. It's like these dark circles under my eyes are not going to be fixed with cream. I need 15 hours of sleep, an entire pot of coffee, and everybody to just go away.
And it really is too, especially when it's framed with other things, because as humans, we still have feelings. We still have all these other dynamics, be it from conditions and traumas before or expectations or whatever the fucking case may be. And as parents, you don't get the luxury, unless you're just going to blow it the fuck off and just be like, well, I'm not really going to be a parent. I'm going to be that pretend parent. But it does require a lot of sacrifice. And in that process, many times, I went through it when my son became, older and he graduated from high school, because all of a sudden I was like, well, I'm not doing the same dad gig that I have been doing for, 18 fucking years. And it's just like, okay, what do I do about myself now? And I think to some degrees you started to reinvent yourself seeing that process coming down the road, didn't you?
Oh yeah. Like after Isabel, I had Sadie. All my kids are about 15 months apart. And with DJ actually was born at 26 weeks gestation. So he was a micro preemie, 2 pounds, 10 ounces, but breathing on his own. And just, he is a very, very strong young man. But after DJ, it's like, again, I started going down that whirlwind of depression and postpartum and kind of freaking out like, oh my gosh, where's this future going? And we knew that I always had a strength in, art and science, and I am highly inclined in the arts. So I had been doing, my first haircut was in 7th grade with my best friend Kim, who I love like my sister. And turns out I was really good at it. So they decided it's like, okay, well, why don't you go to beauty school? And that's how I actually got into hairdressing. It was my outlet, my creative outlet, and with all of my other background, I found my happy place. So that's kind of how I got, through the earlier years, because I got out of the house for a short time. I can come home, take care of kids, and Sadie and DJ both have their own uniqueness and their own challenges. We call them their unique abilities, just because even though I guess technically you could call it a disability,
listen, you and I
they
both
have unique abilities.
Right. They're bullshit labels that we become too complacent in, and we just kind of like, again, put the rubber stamp and say, okay, we're just going to classify somebody like this and just shuffle them down the line, to whatever destination, is, either economically feasible or just, again, in that dismissive nature. Sister Diana says the unspoken truth is the gender role. Because we are moms today and not back in the 80s, we have to really do everything, work, cook, parent, clean, etc. And then what time do we have to take care of each of ourselves? And she queried about, she wonders how much plastic surgery and Botox expense has increased with women as we parent. I can't even begin to touch that one. I don't know. Do you want to jump in on Diana's query?
I mean, I think back to some of the movies where you see all these stay-at-home moms drinking Cosmos and popping Valium on some days when parenthood is just so rough. Girl, I get it. But it's a double standard.
Oh, it's
I've
a definite
seen
double standard, yeah.
more and more TikTok reels and other videos that pop up about, you come home and Mister says, well, you didn't do anything all day. So mom goes out for a girls' weekend and she comes back. She's like, what happened? Well, I was focusing on the kids. Yeah, but you didn't do anything all day. And then someone gets upset about it. It's like, well, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, right?
Listen, somebody,
if I can do it, you can do it.
Right. But it's also the perception thing, because again, as a man, and I experienced this, and the only reason that I had a different context to apply was because of my mother, because my father was pretty much fucking worthless and was absentee. So she juggled the 5 of us and everything else and danced the dance with all the, in between bullshits and stuff and, trying to do PTA and everything that went around with it. But she was also cut from a very powerful cloth in that, she doesn't suffer fools. So she was getting out there and seeing, how mothers were, quote unquote, handling things, and it fucking appalled her. You know what I mean? And I'm sure you've seen that as well too, because unfortunately our kids have to interact with the other kids. So even if we do everything right, they're now getting the trickle down shit element from other shitty parents. And then it just gets fused all together. And then, you have to, as we all do, clean up the mess.
That is very true. And that's where, like I said, I teach your kids to think for themselves. I mean, and just like, I think it was you that posted earlier this week about teaching your kids to play well with others, so to speak. Just because they don't know their story, or, you see the story of the bully that's actually being bullied at home, so he thinks that's acceptable behavior. Well, maybe they need a friend. Maybe something else is going on at home that they don't understand, but that's the only expression they know how. So it's kind of teaching them to look beyond the situation. If that makes sense.
It does, absolutely. Well, because listen, again, some of it is the unique elements of, individuality, and again, as we grow up, we develop our own personalities, we develop our own quirks. Some of them are by choice, and some of them are not by choice. But also, again, too, because of the way certain societal elements are, you have now, in many degrees, an entire generation, especially when you look at it framed against the pandemic, that are completely disconnected. They're completely disconnected, and they're almost kind of, looking at it from a video game perspective, or the social media context, that everything is two-dimensional. And the post that you were talking about was for my brother Ed Contini, because he works with kids who are, different. And a lot of times they get pushed off to the side. They get excluded. They get treated as less than, because maybe they're not as fast, maybe they're not as articulate, or maybe just simply because they look different. And that's an old analogy. You know what I mean? That's not something that's really, all that different. And I'm sure you experienced it in your life, again, especially for women. If you don't fit that classic, mold, if your dimensions aren't right, if your tits aren't like this, and, all the other bullshit that goes with it, somehow you're less than.
Yeah. And you know what? That breaks my heart and I mean, let's not lie about it. It's like when kids are treated that way, they eventually feel it and they realize it. And it breaks my heart that, even when we went through that with DJ, that kids are subjected to that when they're just innocent little souls that they want love and acceptance. That's what drives a child.
Yeah. And it becomes part of their now conditioning, because guess what? We do it to each other as adults. You go into any bar or club and stuff, it is so one-dimensional and so far out of any reality, you know what I mean? And we reinforce these elements, either through, media, or, as you said, movies, music, all of it. Because, again, we're not really changing some of those dynamics. I mean, we are in the little circles that we can. I know you've done it with your kids. I've done it with my son. I know a lot of people out there that are fighting that fight, but especially trying to frame it and be an adult at the same time, it's not easy, because you have to be cognitive that whatever you do may get translated a particular way. I use the analogy for myself. I saw my father, drink and be abusive and everything like that. And I had to come around the corner and realize that even though I hated him, I still was reacting to the conditioning. So I had to make it a point to not repeat that fucking pattern with my son. And I know you went out of your way to make sure certain patterns did not get repeated in your life.
Oh yeah. I mean, I guess it's kind of for my situation, it's kind of the double-edged sword of being raised by a single mom. It's like let me rephrase that. She was primarily a single mother. She's a wonderful mom. She's one of my heroes. And I am the mom I am today because of the way I was raised. If it was any other way, I don't know if I would be the same person. I'm one of those people. Would you go back and change anything? Nope.
Yeah, no, you can't, because that's what gets us to the point where we are. No, I'm totally with you on that. Yeah, my mother is the same way. My mother literally had to fucking dip out the side door, because, again, true story, my father, would get drunk and go out with an axe looking for her, thinking that somehow, that would, make her come back. He was a coward at heart, but it reflected in my younger brother, and my younger brother went off the fucking deep end because of it. And if it wasn't for that element that she not only projected, but she reinforced in how she changed her life once some of the dysfunctional cycles were broken, really has created the template that, I have with my son, my brother and my sister have with their kids. And we have a functional, family unit. It's not perfect, and it never is. My mother saying there, from the time you were a kid, you always befriended the outcast, the broken, and unloved. Yeah, because I felt broken, outcast, and unloved. Not from you, Ma, but listen, again, we all carry our traumas, sometimes having a single parent is better than having a shitty parent, if you dig what I'm saying. You know, like I look in the context of how things played out for my son, and even though there were still carryover, he was at least spared a lot of the dysfunctional bullshit. And I know you made it a point to make sure that your kids, you know what I mean, didn't get hit with those types of things. But I also know you frame it a lot with not only the humor and stuff, but that direct interaction. What do you do for fun these days now?
Who's got time for fun?
Hey, really? Are you going to fucking go there?
No, it's like we watch movies together. Like we make it a point to have family time. You know, circling back around to being raised by a single parent, like that's probably the most important thing she's taught me, is that, you know, your family time is the most important. We had a conversation journaling post a while back about when our life was most at peace, or for me, it was perfect. And it was during the shutdown. I mean, I love spending time with my family. That is probably the most fun that I have, whether we are in the kitchen making a mess, because apparently that is not only my love language, but my children's. They always try to give me half-cooked pancakes for breakfast sometimes. But, you know, if we play games, we make it a point to sit down and have family dinner. Like everybody sits together for a meal at least once a day. We can go out in the yard and kill ourselves pulling weeds and getting our vegetable garden done, going on a drive, you know, whatever it is. If I'm with my family, my kids, my husband, my dad, who's right next door, you know, my grandmother on the other side of me, as long as I'm with family, it's always fun. We're a couple of warped apples out here. So there's never a dull moment.
But listen, I'll take those any day over the fucking bullshit that gets sold to us. And that does also reflect, you're finding magic within the simplest, the things that a lot of people, you know, let's be honest, take for granted, and you've made it work.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a materialistic person. It is really, truly, it's the little things that mean the most. And I think the little things make the biggest impact, not just for me, but for just about anybody, if you really sit back and think about it.
Well said, my sister, well said. All right, we're going to take a break. I'm going to premiere a little bit early something, and I'm doing this for Shia because she put so much fucking work into this thing. She has really become, for me at least, and within the music elements that I have been doing, my go-to translator. And when I say that, she's been taking some of the conceptual ideas and making videos. She's not just a witch. She's not just a great photographer. She's actually a really skilled producer. So we've been working on a new track called Eight of Swords. It's just about done, but this is the just about to be released, but not quite released, that I'm just going to sneak it out there and say, hey, listen, Shia made this. Now, granted, this is me and the guys doing the music thing. That's what we do. But translating it the way that she has is fucking incredibly powerful. So we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to premiere the Not So Ready for Prime Time. Yes, oh my God, yes, I am teasing your video, witch. Because I can. It's my show. I can do whatever the fuck I want. So, Steph and I are going to talk on the side. I'm going to pop this real quick. It's a little over 3 minutes, so not too much of your time. But again, I want to show off not only what we've been doing musically, but what she's been doing production-wise. So, enjoy for the first time, Eight of Swords.
Running every was helping. And it does sick that a life without me is so shady. Oh, I wanna hear her. Don't gotta be near her. Whoa, I'll never forget those starry eyes. But I can't remember.
So yeah, that is the Eight of Swords, the video done by Shia. I see my sister Raven O'Reilly from Bonded by Darkness in the audience, giving the hand wave clappy. Thank you, sister. It is important to remember music, and all music is reflective of life, be they stories, be they actual encounters. That track was influenced by my interactions with my sister Irina out in Lithuania, who was going through some really, really ugly shit. And it was hard for me. The music part is easy. You know what I mean? I've been a guitar player all my life. But translating that into an actual visual video, as my mother says, yeah, I was struggling. And I was struggling badly with the words, too. I just could not find the way, like I have with other songs, to actually, put it together in a framework. And my son got in and, we discussed it. We talked about it. And he's like, okay, I know where you're coming from. And he wrote the words to it. So in many ways, what we've been doing is becoming more and more, family oriented. And that family aspect, includes like you and DJ and my mother and people like Raven and Diana. And that's just going to continue to grow. Now, you and I were joking about with the kids that we're going to have them on later on in the summer, and we're going to save the embarrassing shit for when they can actually be right there with you so you can savor the moment. But if they're listening out there, do you have anything that you want to throw out there? Anything that's, under your skin, or you're like, hey, this is really cool. This is your moment, sister. You can pretty much say anything that you want.
To the kids or anybody?
Anybody. Listen, this is your moment, okay? You can do whatever the fuck you want to do.
Well, as parents, we have our struggles, and parenting is forever a learning experience. There is no right or wrong way. There is no up, down, sideways, whatever. It's like a constant learning experience. If you're overly tired and you've got toddlers in your face, like, yes, you can have the cookie for breakfast. Just give me 30 more minutes. Go away. And there is nothing wrong with it. Nothing at all. It's just a big learning experience. That is my biggest advice for parenting. Self-care is important. There's no reason why you can't take time for yourself. My kids know this. If mom needs some time to vent or have her quiet time, leave me alone. That's it. Rub my feet. I'll give you $5.
Ah, okay. Yes. There you go. Reinforce it with bribery.
Oh yeah, I have no shame in that. I need something done.
It's the lesser of the two evils. You get what you need to get done.
It beats arguing and compromising. And, well, if you do this, then I'll take you out for ice cream. Oh, okay, ice cream.
Yeah.
10 minutes later, you're not fighting with chores anymore, and it's done.
Yeah. Shai's like, oh my God, can I get paid to rub Wolf's feet? Listen, woman, you get coffee every morning, so there is the trade-off.
It's a give and take.
When are they coming back from their summer adventure?
End of the month. We actually picked them up at midnight on the 29th. And I'm so excited. I miss those guys. It's so quiet in the house when they're not here.
You almost don't know what to do with yourself.
Oh, I know what to do with myself. It's quiet. Mommy gets a little bit of R&R, but it doesn't fill that quiet void in the house. And I'm not going to lie. It's like when I get home, yeah, my kids are teenagers, but you know what they do? The first thing I walk in the door is everybody comes out of their room and I get hugs and kisses and asked how my day was. And you know what? Even my most challenging days where I've just had to really push through, it makes everything worth it.
Beautifully said.
Because look, family for me, again, is the number one thing. They'll always be there. They're always there. And I could not say how much I love my family anymore.
That is beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much. Listen, I want you guys to come back. I want the kids in on it. I promise I won't use as many F-bombs. You know what I mean? I'll have to throw out a few. Listen.
They'll understand.
It's a running joke. My mother knows the whole Uncle Kaka thing is kind of something that I have danced back and forth with. And, I don't apologize for it because I would rather be remembered, even if it's in, that little bit of a, the fart joke analogy. It's better than not being remembered, and sometimes those dynamics, when we get down to the kids' level, and that's one of the things I always preach, the biggest mistake we make as adults is we forget what it was like to be children. We forget the magic and the innocence of a fart. You know what I mean? Or, as you said,
no, farts will always be funny,
right? Or
I don't
just
care
as
how
simple
old
as,
you are.
or an ice cream. You know what I mean? The little things we still like. Again, every week we game as a family. We do those things like you said. We make sure that we interact as much as we can, and we build off of that. So I'm really looking forward to when they come back and having you guys on, and we'll be back down to you for some more adventures. So is anything before I let you fly that you want to kind of, throw out to the universe, or, one of those moments where, you have an opportunity to literally send your voice across this planet? Is there anything that you want people to remember you by in this moment? And it's going to be, remember, it's going to be eternalized forever.
Ooh, eternalized forever. I like the sound of that.
Yes.
Be a good human. That is the biggest thing. What you put out's what you get back again. I said it earlier.
Yeah.
And you know what? My love for you and Shy goes bone deep with me. The mentorship circle and our circle of family there has been more help and more support during some of my turbulent times, getting my fresh start out here. I don't think they all understand how much I think about them and care and love for them. And, I'm super grateful for everything that, you and Shia do and put out there. And I don't think you guys are told enough.
Listen,
so yes, thank you guys for everything that you do.
But listen,
to support
conversely,
not just me, but everybody.
We've kind of, built it, and it has developed over the years to become this eclectic, but very, very deep, very tight community, and I would go so far as to say, 95% of the people that we interact with to some degree or another, I consider family. You know what I mean? Even though, like, again, we don't get to interact the same ways. Like, I'm really looking forward to being able to hang out with, Raven and Josh at the end of October, because they have brought the same dynamic. Josh does music with his son. Raven is the singer in there, and they've made their music into a family dynamic. And no coincidence, Raven is a witch and hangs out in the circle as well, too. So it's this really beautiful, organic thing that, it's not thousands and thousands and thousands of people, but it's real. You know what I'm saying? And you guys, listen, you guys have given so much in that as well, too. I don't need, and Shai always gets on my ass about this. She's like, you should do. No, I'm like, no, I don't want to hear it. I'm very happy doing what I do and then just dipping back into my fucking cave. But interacting with your son is a perfect example. The way that he reacted to those dynamics, just that one moment was worth all of it. You know what I'm saying? And I understand, again, being a parent as well too, how it touched you. And then, having that direct interaction when we were down in Texas, that's the Kodachrome moment. That's the type of shit that will live forever.
Agreed. And, it's the impacts we make on those around us that tend to stick with us.
This is magic. This is real magic.
It really was very meaningful, not just to me, but to him, to let him know that other people truly see him and understand and is there for him for what he was going through at the time.
Hey, listen, that track has really been one of the most popular tracks that I have put out there, because it is so organic. It is so, right into that pocket of just, listen, we end up in dark places sometimes, and we cannot forget that we are just like me, just like you. So I want to thank you again for taking the time. I'm going to have you and the kids back again, and we will continue this dance. And as we kind of segue into the rest of the show in this break, so I can say goodbye to you, I'm going to play that track, okay, Just Like Me, because I like that track. It's one of my favorite tracks, and it reflects, a personal element, not only for me, but for you, for DJ, and for anybody else that can relate to it, because in the end, we are more alike than we are. So enjoy this, and then we'll be back. Yeah, that was last year's Music in the Garden track, Just Like Me. That song directly inspired by and written for my brother DJ. I want to thank my sister Stephanie Thompson again for taking the time to come out, hang out with us. I really love the dynamic of being able to bring the people that I love and I respect be they musicians like Raven and Bonded by Darkness or Peril from Phantom High, to having my mother come out here and share her experiences, to having Diana come out here and share her experiences. I believe it's important. It can't just be about, you know, the glossy, fancy kind of, hey, aren't I cool? Because I'm not fucking cool. I said to Shia, and I will share this openly and honestly, we were talking about the video, and I was just kind of in one of those places. It's not always easy trying to juggle the dynamics of what we do and remain uncorrupted. I've had a lot of attempts at trying to, I guess we could say, bring more of a corporate dynamic in, and I've just been like, yeah, no, fuck that. So she's like, what do you want? What do you want? And I'm just like, baby, just make us look cool, okay? That's all, really. Just so we don't look like a bunch of fucking idiots, you know. And that was just my own dynamic, to be honest, my darkness that sometimes screams. When I joke about it, there's a degree of seriousness, and people that know me and interact with me, I am a fucking wolf. I tend to not always do well with humans, because humans do shitty things to each other, and it's uncomfortable. I have to be very careful, because my old instincts, as my mother knows, is just to go fucking batshit and rage and rip people's throats out and then eat the pancreas and the liver. So yummy. And venom comes out. And it's a bad time for everybody. Okay? So I'm getting better. I'm working it. Part of how I work it is through my fucking music. And I know, you know, Raven and others totally understand that, because that's what music is. It reflects who we are. It reflects our experiences, our pain, our dreams, our nightmares, and everything else in between. Now, don't get me wrong. I am incredibly grateful. A lot of beautiful things, a lot of great things happening, not only within these communities, but the expansion with WRFZ and the people that have come into our life, like Ed Contini and Brian Judah, Diane and Ativia, a whole lot of others. And we're going to do more. We're going to be playing out again. Yes, as my sister Stephanie says, music is a great love language. It's a great soundtrack dynamic. And my sister Oracles and I were talking about it the other day. I think she mentioned, I think you said, you know, she had like 480 odd songs in her Spotify playlist that reflect different elements of her soundtrack. And Shia knows when I go into, you know, that particular mode, I'll go over the fucking place. I'll go here, I'll go there, you know, and I've been experimenting. I've been doing different types of music. One of the things I'm going to play in a little while was the Indigo Monkey track that I did with my son. That's a completely different style. You can hear my guitar, but everything else was just me going out of the box, going into some synthesizer, some more pop-oriented type of stuff, because this is the framework for his anime/gaming concept. And I know Oracle's dances around with it. She had shared something, you know, when somebody in your world doesn't like anime, it's hard. It's hard to have a connection. Okay. And it's funny as that is, it's 466 songs. Okay. See, I have been corrected, and that's good. I want to make sure I have those numbers right. But music really does reflect the elements in our life. And it is a universal language, because you don't have to actually understand the fucking words. Music has its own energy. Okay? You could put some Luther Vandross on, you can get freaky, and it don't matter what the fuck he's singing, because you're someplace else. But also in the same analogy, you know what I mean? You throw a particular Pink Floyd song on in any different type of thing, and you're going to a fucking deeper, darker place. Those who know me know that I'm a big Megadeth fan. Megadeth reflects a lot of my deeper, darker, oh, fuck the world kind of mentality. And some of that translates into some of my songs. And, you know, sometimes it also reflects the stuff that I grew up with. So I dance around all over the fucking place, and I'm grateful for it. I'm looking forward to doing more, and we're going to continue to do more. And one of the things that we're going to continue to do is support the bands locally that are not out there getting the publicity they deserve. They're not getting the shows they deserve. They're not getting the attention they deserve. So I'm going to do everything I fucking can to make sure that they get, at least within the scope of what I can do, more attention, because they deserve it. They're good musicians. They're good people. And I like it. And I want other people to enjoy it as well. So I'm going to do a quick 2-pack while I adjust a couple of things over here. And the first is going to be my sister Raven O'Reilly and her band Bonded by Darkness from their new album, Obsidian. And yes, there's some darker imagery there, but don't be fooled. There's a lot of love. There's a lot of understanding. There's magic. Okay? She's not one of those, you know, got to drop a house on her witches. But if you piss her off, I'm sure she'll drop a house on you. And I know my brother Josh will fucking definitely testify to that. But we love her all the same because she's real. Okay? She's not pretending to be something else. And that's important these days. Too many people out there, and, you know, hey, I'm a music promoter. Hey, I'm a social influencer. Hey, I'm somebody spiritual. I just need you to come over here into the dark with me so I can eat your liver. It's bullshit, okay? Actions speak louder than words. And when you see people doing things the way that they do, like Bonded by Darkness, it's inspiring. It's encouraging. So this track from their new album is a little ditty called Dancing on Your Grave. And then we're going to spin it completely around, and we're going to dance into my sister Ayla Huff and her track, okay, which is a really cool track. It's different, but music should not be the same. So we're going to play her track, Let Go, and she is engaged in that opening act. I believe it's a nationwide contest to be able to open for some type of name thing. I believe, again, that all bands should have that opportunity. And, you know, she deserves it. There are a lot of bands that deserve it. We're going to be doing shows to make sure. So, sister, if you're listening out there and your mother's listening out there, we're going to do everything we do to try and hopefully get that for you. But even if it doesn't, we're going to put on shows and you're going to be in those shows. And yes, Ayla Huff is going to be performing with us October 7th. Oh, by the way, did I sneak that out there? Yeah, we're going to be doing a show up here in upstate New York, October 7th at the House of Guitars in conjunction with WRFZ. And myself and a lot of others are going to be playing live again. So you're all invited. And we'll talk more about that as we move through the summer. So here we go. A little bit of Bonded by Darkness, Dancing on Your Grave, followed up by Let Go by Ayla Huff, and then we will be back.
You were born to go away, not in the dirt, you will lay. I told you not to come for me, 6 feet under, we were meant to be.
My name is Olivia Brandreth, and I'm a filmmaker. Nick Brandreth was my father. He went missing in 1997.
Police remain hopeful that they will find answers in the disappearance of photographer Nick Brandreth.
I have no idea what happened.
We're going to find out what happened to Dad.
I don't think I met anyone who fired off more film than your father.
Whoa.
Yeah, whoa.
Who are they?
That's what your father was trying to figure out.
So a cult?
More like an extremely old religion is what your father thought.
Did you believe the police statement that Dad's death was a suicide?
No, not a bit.
It doesn't make any sense.
We hired a private investigator. He felt that my husband entered a parallel dimension.
This is heading down a dangerous path.
For the record, I still think this is a really bad idea.
Who knew how many other cases it would impact?
Other cases?
Your father didn't commit suicide. He's become possessed. He now serves the obsidian pyramid.
Before we're finished, I think you'll agree that truth is stranger than the strangest fiction.
So yeah, that was the promo teaser for Blue Hour, which is going to be coming out August 1st. My brother Ed Contini of Rochester, New York here, of WRFZ, and Pocketful of Wolves, because he's going to jam with me October 7th at the House of Guitars. I can't say how proud and how truly blessed having this man in my life. He truly is my brother. We are chaos and fucking mayhem. And we're going to have a listening party that Tuesday. And we're not going to have a podcast because I'm going to be there hanging out with my brothers and sisters, celebrating my brother Ed's acting in that movie. Yeah, that's some of the stuff that's happening. It's fucking magical, you know, music, movie, art. They're all reflections of our life. Now, the Obsidian thing I thought was really cool. And before that, we had Bonded by Darkness from their Obsidian album, Dancing on Your Grave. And then we had Ayla Huff with hers, Let Go. These are people that are active in our lives. They're not just two-dimensional images out here or out there. They're real people and they have real magic. So I'm going to keep promoting them. I'm going to keep pushing them and talking about the Arts for Autism Festival, as I started earlier. Yes, it's going to be a cool little movie. Very cool movie. And it's something, you know, that Ed really worked hard to do. And he is constantly giving of himself. We talked, and this is kind of like side dialogue, and I can do this because it's my show. You know, my mother's texting in the chat and stuff. You know, we have some common elements from Jersey and Jersey City between our families. So there are no coincidences. You know, different things happen in our lives that bring us to these moments. And in the moment, you can't always see them because they play out over time. So what happens today may not come out of the mix till tomorrow and maybe 10 years from now, but it always does come out of the mix. So I wanted to share some of those people like Greg Carshuman and Jeanette and Randy. Greg's going to be back up with us again for another Dance with the Pocketful of Wolves, October 7th at that House of Guitar show. And we're going to have a lot of fun with it. Here's my sister, Elizabeth Brown. She came out, supported the autism event, and a lot of you know her from not only hanging out here in the podcast, but within Shia's mentorship circle and the associated lives and things. incredibly beautiful woman. And then you got my sister Chris. And I'm going to get her on here and let her tell her story because she's another witch. Okay? And she rides a motorcycle. And she's incredibly passionate. And I love her. Don't get to spend as much time as I would like. But we're going to make it a point to spend more. And then you got these clowns here. Literal clowns. You got Jersey. You got my brother Shrek. You got my brother Chris Seringer. Badass. And then that motley looking character all the way on the end there with the multiple glasses. Yeah, that's my son. That's the Indigo Monkey. We had a fucking blast. These are great people. The Under My Skin for Life Foundation. My son and I have been members now for many years. Tony Rodriguez. I love you, brother. Who else we got in here? Oh, yeah. That's Tony Rodriguez right there playing bass. He's not just a tattoo artist. He's a musician. He's a single dad. He is the founder and the head of the Under My Skin for Life Foundation. Yeah, he's all over the fucking place. But right now, he's off with his kid having an adventure and taking some time for them. So, I love you, brother. Enjoy it. Every fucking moment. Oh, by the way, that's my sister Gia right there. And she got some magic. She's got some powerful magic. And she's got some music. And she's one of the people that's involved with us, not only in music, but in the other things that are going on in the world. And yeah, we're all fucking motley. Okay? And we're proud of it. Oh, and like I started the show earlier, yeah, that's my brother Jonathan. I got fucking Chris Miller licking my hair in the background. Now, it's worth mentioning that, Jonathan and I didn't just do a song together. He came out from fucking Oklahoma to New Jersey to support the event, to support the cause. That's real character, and I love you, brother, for it. And he and I are working on some new music, by the way. That'll be coming out later this summer. And I think I had one more in here. Oh, yeah. By the way, that's my kid. Okay? That's the Indigo Monkey. He's a musician. He's a writer. He's a game developer. He is a anime aficionado. Yes, I said it like that. Yes, yeah, he's a good-looking kid. I'm compromised, though. He's mine. So, I love you, kid. Shout out to him and the rest of the Gorbel third shift crew. Keeping the world together. Making it work. I love you guys. So, I mentioned earlier, and I'm going to throw it back out there. These guys here, the Marshall Tucker Band, are going to be in town at Batavia Downs Friday night, July 21st. And Shia and I are going to be at that show. We're going to be covering the show for WRFZ. She's going to be shooting it, doing her photography magic. I'm going to be doing that wolf shit and hanging with the guys and doing a little bit of interviewing and, kind of hawking around with Chris Miller. Yeah, him and Suzanne Kuhn are going to be up there. So if you're in that area, and if there's any way you can come out and you want to come hang out, come hang out. We will show you the magic and the love that we've been experiencing with these guys for a number of years. I also want to thank again last week, Peril from Phantom High. These guys are a powerful fucking band, let me tell you. Great music, great energy. And really, again, tapping into the magic that we all need. Okay? You may not need it today, but you will. That's the way it works. Because guess what? We're all dancing in the fucking mouth of madness. This is the world we live in. Okay? If we don't take care of each other, who the fuck is going to do it? Okay? It's just that simple. We don't have to agree on everything. Okay? But we can, through music and through magic, we can make things just a little bit better. And it's part of the dynamic of supporting local bands. Okay, supporting the people who make music, who go out. Listen, Marshall Tucker has been doing this for 50 years. They still are touring across the country in a fucking bus. Okay? You want to talk about commitment? You want to talk about dedication? 50 fucking years, Doug Gray and these guys have been doing this. Now, me personally, and I said this on my radio show last night, and I'm going to say it out here tonight, they deserve to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So somebody needs to get off their fucking ass and make that happen. Okay? And it's not to begrudge anybody else that's been put into the Hall of Fame. But I think it's safe to say that there are at least a few of them, okay, that maybe shouldn't have gotten on there before an iconic band like Marshall Tucker. That's just me, but I know a lot of other people feel that way. Now, for anybody who needs this, and again, I've been trying to make it a point to remember that it isn't always just about how I perceive a thing or how I feel about a thing. And for those of you at home that can actually see this graphic, and for those of you who can't, I will read it to you. If the universe didn't need you, you wouldn't be here. Okay? That doesn't mean that you don't feel the way that you do for a reason. It's not a blame analogy. It's not that you're less than. But sometimes the simplest analogy is the true analogy. You have to be in it for it to get better. Okay? And despite whatever else may be going on, despite however fucked up it may seem, you really aren't alone. Maybe it's not everything you need or want, but it's something. And something is better than nothing. And with that, we, you, and I, and all of us, we can build off of that. Again, it's not rocket science. I see my brother Jonathan has jumped in. You're going to have to go back and watch the show because you got a little promo stuff that I did for you throughout the evening. We started the show off with going back to the original context, starting it off with the Time of the Phoenix. And again, as mentioned, he and I are working on some new music, and we'll be getting together again soon. A lot of stuff happening. A lot of really, really cool shit. Now, I talked about my son, as I tend to do, because he's my kid. But in making music with him, he has been one of the influences that's shown me different elements, different styles. I'm going to pop this next little video track. It was a little something that we threw together, Shy, myself, and him. It's all us. So, you know, that this is not like what we've done with Pocketful of Wolves. It's a completely different style element. A lot of synthesizer, little bit of my guitar stuff. I can't help it. I have to throw guitar in everything, just about I do. But it also touches into elements, for him at least, in the way that he communicated it, in something that was a little bit more anime oriented. And this is the title track, the theme song, if you will, for his new anime project. And it's a lot of fucking work. And I give him all the credit in the world, because he's juggling a job, working third shift, doing the gaming stuff, doing these things, doing music. I couldn't be any prouder. You know what I mean? And he and I have seen some shit through the day. And we made it through. And we got a scarecrow, and we got a beautiful witch, and we got a beaver queen, and an assassin queen, and a goblin queen, and we got all these really cool people. My sister Jessica, who has graciously joined the wolf harem. Inside joke. I love you, sister. That shit made me laugh earlier. Made me laugh hard. Made Shy laugh even harder. Laughter is a beautiful, beautiful tool. It can take just about any shitty situation and just make it a little bit better. It isn't going to change it per se, but ultimately how we respond, how we react, how we process anything in our lives is up to us. Granted, yeah, you know, if you get fucking whacked by the fucking Roadrunner, you're going to feel like the Wile E. Coyote. And sometimes there's nothing we can do about it, but hey, we can find ways to at least put some humor on the back end of it so it doesn't have to be this horrible, stinking thing that follows us all over the fucking place. Again, that's just me. Take what you need. Leave the rest behind, as they say. So I'm going to close tonight out with Tales of the Indigo Monkey. Again, something totally different. But yes, it is still an Old Wolf track, not part of the album. So the only way that you really hear it is if you hang out here with me on the podcast. And because it does reflect something that is incredibly important to me, and because I want people to see, I want people to know, and more importantly, I want them to hear that we don't have to be defined by any one particular thing. Okay? You can listen to any type of music and you can find magic and strength and hope and all kinds of things in it. And you can jump around. Okay? Your soundtrack can include whatever works for you. I hope that maybe something that I've done finds its way into your soundtrack. And it's part of the reason why I release my music the way that I do. And it's something that Jonathan and I, when we released Time of the Phoenix, agreed on, is we wanted anybody to have access to it that wanted it, that we weren't going to put it behind a paywall of some corporate fucking this, that, or the other thing that, hey, you only get to listen to it if you got money. Yeah, no. Okay? We wanted anybody and everybody to have access to it. And more importantly, you didn't have to go to our OnlyFans site to listen to it. Another inside joke. So we'll be back next week. I'm not sure exactly what we're going to do. We're going to talk a little bit about the after party of the Marshall Tucker show. We'll have some music. We'll dance around with some wolves. There will be no podcast August 1st because, again, we are going to the premiere party for my brother Ed Contini's new movie. And then we'll be back again. And there's a whole lot of stuff, like I said, coming down the pike. New music, new projects, all kinds of groovy, incredible, beautiful people. And we'll talk more about that. So until next time, try and remember, you are loved. You may not feel it in that kind of dark, sticky way, but it's still there. And that's the beauty of all of this. Okay? You can secret my ass. Jonathan's like, hey, that was supposed to remain a secret, at least for a little while. Yeah, I'm not good with secrets. Ironically, I have a track out that I named Dirty Secrets that Raven and Josh are playing with, and I can't wait to see what they do with it. I love doing collaboration. It is becoming a place for me that I am incredibly comfortable with, and I enjoy. And I'm going to keep doing it for as long as you all allow me to. So again, until next time, enjoy the unreleased Tales of the Indigo Monkey, as done between myself, my son, and my lovely witch, Shia. So hang in there, be cool, and remember, don't eat your friends.